Are you a fan of the Dragon Ball Super card game? If so, check out QueenCityGaming.com for sealed product, singles, and more. Just use promo code MafubaJar-10 to save 10% off your order every time.
Welcome back to the Mafuba Jar. We've been sealed away for another awesome deck profile. And today, guys, I'm going to be profiling you my Towa deck, which is up there in the arguments of best deck in the format right now, next to the Universe 6 stuff and all that. And rightfully so, because this deck is very, very horrible to go up against, but it's just such a guilty pleasure to win. You're the one playing it, and you're the one just ruining your opponent's day at a tournament. So, this is a black leader that we got actually from our anniversary boxes. And this card was not the easiest to pull. Like, I didn't realize how lucky I was when I pulled this out of my first box. Because, like, I know people who bought, like, 3 or 4 boxes and still never managed to pull a Towa. So, a little bit harder to grab than you guys would think. So, let's go ahead and take a look at her here. She has an activate main. Once per turn, it's a burst 3. You look at the top 5 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 Mira or Few. Add them to your hand, and then shuffle. So, every turn, you get to search for a Mira or Few. But you're mainly going to be searching for the Miras. Few cards, don't get me wrong, really will come in handy though. And her awakening is also very unique. Is that when you have 10 or more black cards in your warp, you draw a card, choose up to 1 of your energy, switch it active mode, and flip this card over. So her awakening has nothing to do with life. Which is best because you don't really want to take much life until around the end of the game. And her awakened side here, Towa Chaos Bringer. And she's got 2 activates. First one being an activate main. So you get to choose 3 black cards in your warp, place them in your drop area. You choose up to 1 Mira card in your battle area, and it gains critical for the duration of the turn. So it really helps with the theme of the deck being all about like very brutal hand control. So and we have Miras in here that can go up to quite a bit. So adding critical on top of that is just disgusting. And the activate battle is even more disgusting, arguably. You pay an energy, you pitch a card from your hand, and you get to choose up to 1 keyword skill on an opponent's battle card and negate it for the duration of the turn. So you can negate like blocker, barrier, double strike, triple strike, critical. Let's see what else. Quadruple strike if you ever happen to go up against it. Like, just all these things it gets to negate, it's just disgusting. So let's go ahead and take a look right into the deck and see why it's so disgusting. Alright, first off here I am going to be running the Supreme Kai as my super combo. There are other super combos you can't run for black, but I feel that Supreme Kai at time, anything that involves Overwhelm, this is still your go-to super combo. So this activates when you have 5 or more cards in your warp, you draw a card, and it gains 10k. Something interesting about this is that this doesn't care what color the leader is. So, let's say that we have a leader that focuses a lot on Overwhelm, but is not a black card. This would be the perfect super combo. Because again, this doesn't state any specific color your leader has to be. Alright. Next up, gonna be running 4 copies of the new Supreme Kai Time Regulator. So she is a 1-drop blocker. Pretty good right there. And when you play her, draw a card. Very, very good. Because as I said, you don't want to be taking too much life with Towa so early in the game. Late game is one thing, but you definitely don't want to be taking those early game hits. Alright, and next up here, we're going to be showing up our Towa lineup. We do run quite a few Towas. First one here is going to be 2 copies of Towa Space Time Unleashed. And her auto is when you play this card, look at the top 7, search for up to 1 Mira or Mass Sand among them, and add to your hand. Now, we don't run any Mass Sand in this deck, but we do run quite a few bit of Mira. So you have Liz to search Mira, and you have her to search Mira as well. Alright, next up for Towa here, I'm going to be running 2 copies of Towa Dimension Leaper. Now this is a brand new card that we've gotten from Assault to the Sands. So she's a 2-drop blocker with Revenge, so that's really good. And she's a counterplay too. You choose 2 cards in your drop area and send them to your warp to play this card. So there's been a little bit of confusion on that, but yes, you do still have to pay the 2 energy to send 2 cards from drop to warp and play her. But still, that's a blocker Revenge right there. So really, really awesome. Makes them have to think a little more carefully or waste resources to get rid of this. So really, really awesome. Alright, last up here from my Towa lineup, it's going to be 2 copies of Towa Invitation Umbral Invitation Towa. Now, this is one of the only Dark Overwhelms we're running in a deck, so it's a Dark Overwhelm 4. You pay 1 energy, and for those of you who don't know Dark Overwhelm, it stays on afterwards. Like, it doesn't go away like Overwhelm does. And the auto is that when you play this card, choose up to one of the battle cards in your opponent's battle area with an energy cost of 3 or less and gain control of it. So, the main reason we run Towas is just for Union Absorb material for Mira, but they do have their uses as well. And speaking of Mira, oh boy, do we have quite a few Mira to show you. First off, here's going to be 4 copies of Relentless Destruction Mira. This is going to be your first few turns Mira right here. So he's an Overwhelm 3, and when you play this card using Overwhelm, your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and places it in the drop area. So, as I said, this is going to be your first at least 2 turns here, which is that Mira. Just making them pitch their stuff. That's what you want to do. Alright. Next up here, we get into the Union stuff. First one's going to be 3 copies of Mira Self-Reformation. This is also a card that we got from the Special Anniversary set. And this one is really good. So he's a 5-drop with Double Strike, the Union Absorb. Now let me read the Union Absorb because we're running 2 of them, and they work a little differently. Choose 1 Towa card from in your Warp and place it under this card. If your leader card is a Towa or Android card, choose up to 1 Mira card from your deck with an energy cost of 7, playing an active mode on top of this card, then shuffle your deck. So, that said, we are running another one with Union Absorb, but it works a little bit differently. And it has Deflect, which is good. And the permanent is that if you have 10 or more black cards in your Warp, you reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1. So he essentially becomes a 4-drop in this deck, because we're going to have 10 in the Warp very easily. Alright. And we're also going to be running 3 copies of Dark Absorption Mira. He's an Overwhelm 3 with Union Absorb. You pay 4 energy for it. Now, as I said, they work a little bit differently. You place a Towa from your Warp underneath this card. If your leader is an Android or Towa, you choose 1 Mira with an energy cost of 7 in your hand or Warp and play it on top of this card in active mode. So, you get to search it from deck with this guy, and it searches from hand. It gets it out from hand or Warp with this, in case you've already had to mill your 7-drop Miras. This is the card to go to. And not to mention, since they're all Miras, they can all be given critical with the Towa, especially this one. This essentially becomes a 20k double strike critical if you do it with this. Not saying you would because you want it for the Union Absorb, but I'm just saying you could. Now, 1 Mira that would be really neat to give a double strike critical. It's going to be 2 copies of Invasive Power Mira. He's an overall 5, you pay an energy, and he has Double Strike. But with the Awakened Towa, he'll become a 25 Double Strike crit for just an energy. Yeah, you have to send 5 to Warp, but with how much you're going to be doing this kind of stuff, it's really not going to be an issue whatsoever. He's just a neat little tech card in there. Alright, now for the main Mira of the deck. It's going to be 4 copies of Mira Creator Absorbed. Now, in this deck, we actually get to use the full power of this card. Because for those of you who've been playing for a bit, this card already has been seeing play in the sideboards of many decks. Mainly for the second auto, to where when this card attacks, this card gains 5,000 power for each card in your Warp. So he gets really gigantic. Not to mention, he is an Overwhelm 4 to where you pay 1 energy, so he is easy to bring out. But in this deck, we get the full power. We get the first auto. And the first auto reads that when you play this card using Union, your opponent chooses 3 cards from their hand, sends it to their Warp, and this card gains Double Strike for the duration of the turn. So you play this one Union, bring him out, your opponent has to pitch 3, and he'll be a gigantic Double Striker. When you put him down with Towa, he'll become a critical. So, and the thing is with this guy, if you don't negate, you're basically going to take the damage. Because it is almost impossible to combo out of this guy. Now, for those of you who have been playing long enough to where World Martial Arts Tournament Hercule was a thing, I have seen that deck on stream fail to combo out of this. So, comboing out of this guy is next to impossible. So they either have to negate or they're taking the hit. That's just how it is. This card is honestly unfair. Alright, so that about does it for the Mira cards. Now let's get into some of the few cards. Gonna be running 2 copies of Dimensional Banisher for you. So Overwhelm 5, you pay an energy, double strike. When you play this card with Overwhelm, choose 1 card of your opponent's battle area and send it to the warp. Now this is also another card that I've seen quite a bit play in the side decks in the past. But it's searchable in this deck, so that's even better. Next up here, I'm going to be running 2 copies of Scientist Few. I love the artwork on this one. This is the alternate art that came from the special edition. It was originally a promo pack from way back, but I love this artwork. To me, this artwork is so much better. It's an Overwhelm 7, you tap an energy, it's got double strike, but his biggest thing is that when you play this card using Overwhelm, you get to draw 2 cards. So he's a draw 2, 25k double strike. Really awesome. And last up here for the Fuse, I'm going to be running 2 copies of Few the Dark Banisher. This is, again, something that we did get in the special anniversary set. So he's triple attack, overall of 8, you pay 4 energy, and his permanent is that your opponent can't activate skills unless they choose 1 card in their hand and send it to their warp. So that's a lot more hand control right there, because they can't negate, they can't activate blocker, they can't activate super combo, they can't do anything unless they send a card to warp. And that's what we're all about, is doing that kind of stuff. And a lot of the time, the opponent's not even really going to have much of hand, if no hand at all. So this is just going to be really brutal to our opponent. And there are 2 one-of cards I run in here. I run 1 copy of Trunks Power Overseeing Time. Now, I don't run the Vegeta in this deck. The biggest thing is I don't have them, but at the same time, I'm not really too much in a rush to get them. I might get them soon, don't get me wrong, because they are starting to lower down in price, but they're still like just brutally expensive, and for anything under a regional, you really don't need it. And this is my kind of replacement to it. So as an Overwhelm of 4, pay 2 energy, he has double strike, and when you play this card, you get to choose 1 battle card in your warp and add it to your hand. So really awesome there for recycling some stuff you may need. And of course, I am going to be running the Beyond Darkness Demigod, because almost anything with black cards, you have to run him. He's just too good. So he's a Dark Overwhelm of 7, you pay 5, and his auto is that when his card attacks, your opponent reveals their hand. Choose up to 4 battle cards from it and combo with them in your combo area. So what little cards your opponent will have left, if they even have anything, you can just go ahead and swipe and combo with it with a 40k triple strike. Like, how is that fair? Alright. And next up here is for more stuff. I am going to be running 3 copies of Goku making an entrance. Now, this is the new negate for black that we got in the set. It's a 1-drop counter attack. You get to negate and play him. He does not have a combo cost, which quite a few of the black battle cards in this set did not, and I thought that was a little bit weird. But, oh well. So he's one of the negates we have in here, and I'm running some of him, as well as 3 copies of Son Goku Saiyan Transcendence. Now this card is amazing. So he has double strike, a Xeno Evolve of 1 on top of a Son Goku Xeno with an energy cost of 3 or less, which your counter fits that right there. He's got 2 permanents. First one being if you have any black battle cards in any area other than whatever, you can't play this card from any area. But we're playing mono black, so that's not an issue. Second permanent is that if you have 3 or less energy, you can't play this card from any area. I was a little disappointed about that one, but I do get it. Like, if you're able to bring this out on your second turn, that would honestly just be too busted. But his activate main really helps us. Is that once per turn, choose up to 4 black battle cards in your warp and place them in the drop area. Now, for lots of Overwhelm based decks, this is like the best card ever. Demigod, this card is completely busted, but this can also help out Towa a little bit too. Because on her Awakened side, she's not really milling anymore. So this does help us bring some stuff back to Overwhelm, and then she can just go ahead and give the Mira crit. Because it's 9 times out of 10 going to be a Mira that we Overwhelm. Alright, so that does it for the battle cards. And let's get into some of the extra cards here. First off here, I am going to be running 3 copies of an Unexpected Turn. Now, this is one of the new counterplays that we got in the set, and it is just really it's WoW. So if your opponent has 3 or more battle cards in play with energy cost of 2 or more, the battle card your opponent is playing is placed in the owner's drop area instead. Then choose all battle cards with energy cost of 2 or less, ignoring barrier, and send them to the owner's warps. Now, against Universe 6, this could potentially wipe out their entire board. And boards in Universe 6 decks can be pretty gigantic. So great card for that. Not to mention, it's just a 1-drop. It doesn't really hurt you to run it at all. So, great card. And last up here, I am going to be running 3 copies of Power Burst. Now this is a black negate, and you get to choose up to 1 black battle card from your drop area or warp with the energy cost of 1 and add it to your hand. And it does have a Sparking 5, which we will sometimes use, but not all the time. To where if you have 5 cards in your drop area, you get to pay you get to take a life to play this instead of paying the energy. So this does have quite a few things we could get out here. First one being the Supreme Kaya Time Regulator, the Towa Time Space Unleashed. But okay, let's be obvious here. This is the biggest thing that this could get back. So let's say the Goku's in a drop or warp area, and you already played this negate. They can go ahead and Power Burst, get this negate back, and you have another negate there to just use. So this can help recycle your Goku negates, is essentially what it's there for. And it just gives you a lot more negates to work with, and all that fun stuff. Alright guys, so this concludes my Towa deck profile. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, like and comment down below. And with that guys, I hope you all have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys next time, and you've all been released.